think what people are saying is that's why you should still have to fight Benavidez, because they still got to play the best young players in basketball, football. What do you say to that?
And me too, I already fight everybody. All the best fighters out there, I fight already. And you can look in my record.
They did too, but
David Benavidez has never been one to hold back. And when it comes to the much-anticipated fight between Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga, Benavidez's opinions have been more interesting than ever.
Would you do like a rehydration clause like Tank has done in the past?
Could be, but if we made the fight, we'll see.
Yeah.
With his formidable presence in the super middleweight division and the frustration of being repeatedly passed over by Canelo, Benavidez is now openly voicing his thoughts. Not just about Canelo's decision-making, but about what it means for the future of the sport and the possibility of Berlanga pulling off an upset.
I think
Benavidez plan 2 wins.
I think Benavidez.
What?
Because he's more strong, younger, so...
With only hours remaining until the fight between Canelo and Berlanga happens, Benavidez has been clear. He believes Canelo chose the easier route. Canelo could have fought me, and everyone knows that's the fight the fans want, but he chose to take an easy payday with Berlanga instead, Benavidez stated. Some thought we have all had throughout this journey. There's fear in that decision. When you avoid the best challenge out there, it shows you're not as confident as you claim to be. These sharp words set the stage for an exciting perspective, especially when one considers the possibility that this perceived fear could play a significant role in the fight's outcome. The specter of Benavidez hangs heavily over the upcoming Canelo versus Berlanga fight. Benavidez has been knocking at Canelo's door for years now, seeking the showdown that many fans believe is the natural next step for the Mexican superstar. Since Canelo's victory over Gennady Golovkin in September 2022, the anticipation for a Canelo versus Benavidez fight has grown. Benavidez's stellar rise, punctuated by dominant victories over top-tier opponents like Caleb Plant, has cemented his status as Canelo's most deserving challenger.
Yeah.
That's not bashing him.
But that's what I'm saying. They spin the narrative on Instagram. Right. If I say something, they say this or that. But I only want what I earned.
Right.
And I'm entitled to it. From what the WBC told me, they say you win a title limiter, we'll give you a title shot.
But instead of Benavidez, Canelo lined up Berlanga as his next opponent. While Berlanga has shown promise with an impressive string of knockouts early in his career, he has yet to prove himself against the elite of the super middleweight division. Canelo, on the other hand, has faced and defeated some of the biggest names in boxing, Jermell Charlo, John Ryder, and Jaime Munguia among them. For many of us, Berlanga honestly seems like a step down, and Benavidez isn't afraid to point that out. Benavidez's criticism centers on Canelo's unwillingness to take on the toughest fights available. Canelo's fought great fighters in the past, no doubt, but lately, it seems like he's dodging the real threats, Benavidez claimed.
When you breaking it down, like how do you see yourself able to beat him?
I definitely see myself stopping him because the type of fighter I've worked with the top fighters since I was 15 years old.
If he's truly the best, he should fight the best, and I'm the best challenge for him right now. While Benavidez believes Canelo chose Berlanga for an easy payday, the matchup is still interesting, and it happened for a reason. Berlanga, with his explosive power, is a fighter capable of shocking anyone who underestimates him. Although his performances more recent have been less spectacular, with opponents managing to take him the distance, Berlanga remains a dangerous opponent who could capitalize on any slip-ups by Canelo.
Try to do it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But with Benavidez it was good sparring. I can't say that something was not good.
Canelo, known for his incredible defense, ring IQ, and power, faces a challenge in Berlanga that's different from his usual opponents. Berlanga's youth, hunger, and knockout ability make him a threat, especially if Canelo underestimates him, something that we can all say Canelo is doing. Yet, Canelo has proven time and again that he thrives in high-pressure situations. His impressive resume includes victories over some of the sport's biggest names, Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto, Golovkin, and others, and his ability to adapt in the ring has made him a living legend.
Why would Canelo fight Benavidez, who's relatively unknown, and Benavidez beats him Benavidez becomes overnight a superstar.
But despite Canelo's illustrious career, Benavidez believes Berlanga has a real chance. Berlanga's got power. If Canelo's underestimating him, he could get caught, and that could be the end of the fight, Benavidez said. Fear can mess with your mind, and if Canelo's scared of what comes after Berlanga, me, then that fear could make him slip up in the ring. For Benavidez, the Canelo-Berlanga fight represents more than just a missed opportunity for himself. It's a reflection of Canelo's reluctance to face the toughest competition. In Benavidez's eyes, Canelo's decision to fight Berlanga instead of him speaks volumes about the Mexican champion's current mindset. Canelo's been dodging me, plain and simple, Benavidez emphasized. He had the chance to give the fans the fight they wanted, but instead, he went with Berlanga. That tells me everything I need to know. Canelo has, of course, faced criticism in the past for supposedly avoiding certain fighters, but he has always responded by taking on big names and proving his doubters wrong. His fights against Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout, and Golovkin, all fighters who were considered dangerous at the time, were seen as Canelo stepping up to the plate when it mattered most. But the situation with Benavidez feels different, particularly because the boxing world has been calling for the fight for years now. Even Eddie Hearn, Canelo's former promoter, has weighed in on the matter, suggesting that a Canelo-Benavidez fight is inevitable, but likely not in 2024. Benavidez is the fight fans want, Hearn said, but I think it's more likely to happen in the second fight next year. Canelo's got options, but Benavidez is the real challenge.
You're talking the whole meal fucking week.
So we said we have to use your name to sell the show.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what I think.
You good? Everything good?
Yeah.
Good. See you in a minute.
Benavidez's rise to prominence has been nothing short of spectacular. At 16, he made his professional debut, and by 20, he had already become the youngest ever super middleweight champion. His power, combination punching, and relentless pressure have made him a feared opponent in the division. His victory over Caleb Plant, in particular, showcased his ability to dominate elite fighters, and his subsequent call-out of Canelo only added fuel to the fire.
Would you consider Benavidez?
We'll see. We'll see. We 100% focus on this fight, but everything is possible right now.
But as Benavidez's star has risen, so too have the obstacles. His career has been marked by setbacks, including being stripped of his WBC title after testing positive for substances in 2018 and losing the belt again after failing to make weight in 2020. Despite these challenges, Benavidez has continued to push forward, reclaiming his title with a stoppage victory over Anthony Darrell and securing a dominant win over Plant in 2023. For Benavidez, a fight with Canelo represents not just an opportunity for personal redemption, but a chance to solidify his legacy as one of the greatest super middleweights of all time. Canelo, of course, has not shied away from addressing the speculation surrounding a potential fight with Benavidez. In a recent interview, he made it clear that he's open to the fight, but only if the financial terms are right. If the money's right, I can fight Benavidez right now, Canelo said. I don't give a S. It's only a matter of money at this point. Everybody's asking for everything.
Canelo, you always say when you're fighting someone, it's different when they're inside the ring.
Yeah.
How is it different, if you could elaborate?
Because they know used to be with a fighter like me. So that's it.
These comments have done little to quell the belief that Canelo is avoiding Benavidez. For many fans, it seems as though Canelo is putting financial considerations ahead of his legacy, and that's something that Benavidez has been quick to highlight. While much of the focus has been on the potential Canelo-Benavidez fight, Berlanga is not to be overlooked. The young knockout artist knows that this fight is his chance to catapult himself into superstardom. A win over Canelo would not only silence his doubters, but also position him as one of the biggest names in the sport.
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a what you guys want. He's not.
Berlanga's team has been preparing diligently for the fight, and they believe they've identified weaknesses in Canelo's game that Berlanga can exploit. Canelo's not invincible, Berlanga said. He's been hit before, and I've got the power to knock him out. I'm coming into this fight with everything I've got. For Benavidez, this fight represents an opportunity to further pressure Canelo. If Berlanga manages to upset Canelo, the narrative will shift dramatically. If Berlanga wins, it just proves what I've been saying all along, Benavidez said. Canelo's not as unbeatable as people think. He's been avoiding me, and maybe he's been avoiding the real challenge for a reason.
That's it. I don't need to fight anybody. I don't need to prove anybody anything, because I remember when this happened with Golovkin.
The outcome of the Canelo Berlanga fight will have significant implications for the future of the super middleweight division. If Canelo wins, the calls for a showdown with Benavidez will only grow louder. But if Berlanga pulls off the upset, it could set up an entirely new landscape in the division, with Berlanga and Benavidez potentially clashing for supremacy. For Benavidez, regardless of what happens, one thing is clear: he's not going anywhere. "I'm here to stay," Benavidez said. "Canelo can run, but he can't hide. Whether he fights me next or down the line, it's going to happen. And when it does, I'm going to show the world why I'm the best." Canelo is in an interesting phase of his career. He is not the wide-eyed, ferocious young champion who took the boxing world by storm at 15 years old. Now 34, with a list of accolades that would make any fighter envious, Canelo finds himself with a different strategy, one that many of his most ardent fans find hard to swallow. Critics are starting to make noise about a lack of risk in his career as of late. To them, the man who once seemed destined to be a boxing god has tarnished his legacy by playing it safe. Yet others say Canelo has earned the right to dictate the end of his career however he sees fit.
But and I always did. I always fight with everybody. You asking, so. But right now I'm in the position I can ask him to. So I'm in the position I can ask him to, and I can do whatever I want.
But let's face it, when a fighter starts hearing these whispers, something has changed. People aren't just pointing fingers out of nowhere. Fans have been accusing Canelo of taking less dangerous fights, avoiding top-tier competition like David Benavidez, and not pushing the envelope in the ring like he used to. The debate surrounding whether Canelo is preserving his legacy or simply avoiding tough competition is real, and it's only growing louder. Canelo's defenders, however, are quick to remind everyone of the incredible volume of fights he's had over the years. Since turning pro in 2005, Canelo has never been shy about getting into the ring, fighting some of the biggest names in the sport.
Everybody has an incredible resume. What is he going to be scared of Benavidez for? And I'm a big Benavidez fan.
From the moment he stepped onto the big stage, he has been a constant presence, whether in the grand arenas of Las Vegas or stadiums in Mexico. And this activity isn't just commendable. It's rare in an era where top fighters often pick their spots carefully. But this high volume doesn't automatically silence critics, and it shouldn't. Yes, Canelo has graced the sport with a dedication that is hard to overlook, but dedication alone doesn't shield a fighter from questions about legacy. Floyd Mayweather, a former Canelo opponent, faced similar scrutiny late in his career. His money persona was built on the idea that he was making the most money, not always taking the most dangerous fights. Canelo is now finding himself in a similar situation, but perhaps with even more scrutiny because his style in the ring has also shifted. The last 4 fights of Canelo's career have been an easy target for criticism. Against Jaime Munguia, Jermell Charlo, John Ryder, and the aging Gennady Golovkin, Canelo found a way to win convincingly every time. But the question isn't whether he won, it's how he won. The first 2 clashes with Golovkin in 2017 and 2018 were legendary, filled with tension and stakes that made them instant classics. But by the time of their 3rd meeting, Golovkin was 40 years old, a shell of the dangerous fighter he once was. It left many fans feeling like the 3rd fight wasn't just unnecessary, but unfair to a once great rival. This wasn't a trilogy that ended with fireworks, but rather a controlled dismantling of an older fighter who clearly didn't have it in him anymore.
I want to see that fight, Benavidez-Canelo, and many people want to see the fight. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Hey, and how does it feel to be in the Hall of Fame, man?
Canelo's dominant points win over Golovkin didn't have the usual dramatic flair that fans expect from him. That's where the complaints start. Fans wanted more from Canelo. Not just a win, but a statement. But instead, Canelo seemed content to take the path of least resistance. Then came John Ryder, a name that, on paper, hardly excites. Although Ryder is tough and game, nobody truly believed he posed a threat to Canelo, and the fight reflected that. While Ryder did give a valiant effort, Canelo cruised to another decision win, dropping Ryder along the way, but never truly going for the kill. Jermell Charlo and Jaime Munguia, younger and faster, were still outclassed by Canelo, who seemed more interested in securing safe points victories than finishing with a knockout. So why the uproar? Why are so many fans pointing fingers at Canelo now? 2 words: David Benavidez. And let's not pretend this fight wouldn't be a colossal event. It would be a blockbuster for boxing fans everywhere, yet Canelo hasn't made the move. Instead, he's lined up a fight with Edgar Berlanga. Why Berlanga and not Benavidez? That's the million-dollar question that has Canelo's critics moving around. Some fans and analysts argue that Canelo is ducking Benavidez because of the risk involved.
It's not different when you take yourself. And look, I feel in my prime, I feel in my best. This Canelo beats the Canelo of 24, 25, 26 years old. Two, I already fight everybody. All the best fighters out there, I fight already. And you can look in my record.
They did too, but he didn't.
Benavidez is larger, younger, and in his prime, exactly the kind of fighter who could threaten to spoil Canelo's storied career. Others argue that Benavidez, despite being a threat, hasn't accomplished enough to deserve a fight with Canelo. He's accomplished nothing, Canelo bluntly said after his fight with Munguia. He's beaten one single champion, Anthony Dirrell. Please don't disrespect me. That statement, however, doesn't tell the full story. While it's true that Benavidez's resume is not packed with elite names, he did recently defeat Caleb Plant, a former Canelo opponent. And many fans believe Benavidez did so just as decisively, if not more so. The real issue is that Benavidez represents a risk that Canelo doesn't seem to want at this stage of his career. And it's that perception that is bothering so many fans.
Always talk, so no matter what. No, obviously he's a risk. He's a great fighter, and plus he brings to the ring the fight night. He bring 25 pounds more than me, so it's a risk. But I don't care about that. If the money is right.
The argument that Canelo is ducking Benavidez gains more traction with every fight that doesn't happen. On the surface, it looks like Canelo is picking opponents he knows he can beat. An aging Golovkin, an unproven Charlo, and now Berlanga. If Canelo were truly confident that Benavidez wasn't a threat, he could easily have taken the fight by now. So why hasn't he? Canelo might say it's about money. Sure, he has stated before that he would fight Benavidez, but only if the price is right. The reality, though, is that Canelo is no stranger to big paydays. He knows how to sell a fight, and Benavidez would be the biggest one out there right now. In today's boxing world, money talks louder than ever, and nobody knows this better than Canelo. The Saudis, with their deep pockets, have effectively taken over boxing, hosting some of the sport's biggest events in recent years. So far, Canelo has not participated in one of these shows, but it seems like only a matter of time before he joins the Saudi gravy train. The question is, will he do it against Benavidez or perhaps someone like Terence Crawford?
Has the Canelo fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talk. With the right business come across the table, it happened.
Canelo hasn't been shy about his feelings toward the Saudis. He seemed irked by Turki Al-Sheikh's recent push for a Canelo-Crawford super fight. But let's be real. If the money is right, Canelo will take the bait. A fight with Crawford would make more money than Benavidez, but Benavidez makes more sense as a legacy fight. The problem is, legacy seems to be the last thing on Canelo's mind right now, and so, instead of Benavidez, we get Edgar Berlanga. The Puerto Rican fighter has an impressive 22-0 record and a knack for knockouts. But most people are skeptical that he poses a real challenge to Canelo. Berlanga hasn't faced the level of competition that would suggest he can seriously threaten the Mexican superstar. The general feeling is that this is just another step in Canelo's plan to ease his way into retirement, collecting paydays while avoiding any real risks.
I think, from what I've read, I don't know the details. I'm not following them too closely, but it's like he's named his price for what he wants to fight him. So I'm sure he understands the risk, and like you said, he knows he's a bigger boy, so that's really all I got to say on that.
If Canelo was looking for a fight to quiet the critics, Berlanga isn't it. While the fight is sure to generate a lot of interest, it's hard to shake the feeling that this is just another in a long line of safe choices for a fighter who used to take on all comers without hesitation. The future for Canelo is interesting. On one hand, he has enough money and enough wins to walk away right now and be remembered as one of the greatest boxers of all time. But on the other hand, he seems intent on sticking around for a few more fights. The problem is that every fight that isn't against Benavidez will be viewed as a disappointment by many fans. The longer he avoids that fight, the more his legacy comes under question. So, Will Canelo finally give the fans what they want and face Benavidez? Or will he continue down this road of low-risk, high-reward fights? Time will tell, but one thing is clear. Canelo's legacy is no longer just about what he has done, but also about what he chooses to do next. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. See you in the next one.